Welcome back to the channel, guys. Love Squad here. Today we're going to be working on a YFZ 450, and in this video we're going to do the full disassembly of this YFZ 450. This is specifically 2006. The problem we're having here is chain came off, broke this case. The guy tried to get it welded and well, it didn't work out so well. It's kind of stuck. Anyways, we have a new but used case that we just bought, found a really good deal on, so we're just going to take this all apart and slap that new case on, get it all cleaned up, and put this thing back together. So if you're looking for a video on how to do this yourself at home, this is the video for you. What I'm going to be using is one of these Tusk case splitters, one of these clutch flywheel or the basket holders so that you can take the clutch nuts off. This is a Tusk as well, and we also are going to need a flywheel puller. So let's get into the video. We'll start off by taking off the head. Gasket maker in here. I'm gonna have to probably replace this gasket because it's, you don't really have to put gasket maker up here, guys. You have this normal gasket that goes on, and there's not that much oil that needs that, there's not that much pressure up here that you have to have gasket maker. So just get yourself a normal gasket and use that. Keep all of your bolts together and try to keep them in order. That's how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep everything in order from start to finish, and that way I can put it back in the same order. We're going to take a 17 and we're going to make sure that this thing is at top dead center. I already have the magneto side cover off. Customer left it off, so I'm just going to go based off of the markings here. One marking has to be on this side, one on this side. It has to be even with the head up here, and your cam lobes need to be facing away from each other like it is here. So this engine is at top dead center. The other place you would do is you would mark this flywheel up with the marking on the flywheel or on the magneto cover. Take a flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna tighten that in. It's gonna stay in one spot. Yeah, the chain's loose. Next, we're gonna take off these cam covers and just go off in like this order. Bolts are all the same, so you don't really have to worry about mixing them around. If you guys are going to use anything to hit this, do it lightly and make sure you're not using a metal hammer. You're using like a rubber mallet. You don't want to damage anything. Forget this little guy, it goes right there, and keep everything together. About the chain falling down there, but right now I don't really care that much. I don't think there's a point, since you're taking everything all apart already. If you're not taking it all apart, you gotta hold the chain. I'm gonna keep track of these head studs and where they were, just to be safe. This head looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's good. Never reuse your head gasket. You always want to replace that. If you're doing this job, always replace it. And you want to make sure you don't lose these. What you want to do is run your fingernail around any area that you might seem like there's imperfection, or around the whole thing. And if your fingernail catches, then you need to go get that fixed. And if it doesn't, you're good. This one seems pretty good. While you're here, you might as well check your piston to make sure there's no up and down play. There will be side to side play, but as long as there's no up and down play, you're good, which this is good. I'm gonna leave that piston alone. We're not gonna take it off. There's no need for it. I'm gonna pop these little pins out right here and save them. Don't lose them. We've got this turned around. We're gonna take off the clutch plate. These pins out. If they don't come out easy, don't try forcing it out. Take a socket and put it inside that fits perfectly on the inside, and then you can take your needle nose and kind of wiggle it out. If you do it without the socket, you'll bend these and then you'll ruin them. A little bit at a time. Take out this like ball in here that you gotta take out right there. Don't lose that guy. I don't know why this nut was already loose. I think the previous owner had already messed with it. These bolts, I'm probably gonna organize them so that I remember which one went where, because they're different sizes. In case, I'm gonna try to get as much oil out as I can. Just gotta lean it over like that and let it sit for a bit. Actually gonna take a picture of this before I take anything apart, just to make sure I have something to go off when I go back together. Yeah, don't do that. Luckily we found it. It was way under all that crap, but easy find, so that's good. Got lucky there. Don't do what I did. Don't lose this washer as well. Keep all this stuff together. Not a good sign, but I'll put that back. Oh, put that back properly. We gotta get what's in here. So clutch actuator rod thing. So here's a little trick I learned. If you're trying to get the flywheel off, or these little sprocket, or these little gears, you can take a penny, because copper is very soft metal. You can put that in between the gears, and then you can start trying to take off the sprockets or the gears, or you can take off the flywheel bolt if you don't have an impact gun, and it won't damage any of the gears because of the copper being soft. So let's take this off. And that's what happens to the penny. No problems. So I rented a flywheel puller from O'Reilly's, and that did not work because the way the flywheel is on these, it does not have a good spot for it to grab around the flywheel. Was gonna go buy a tool for it, I never did, so I went to Mash Motorsports and they charged me $10 to pull the flywheel off. So it is what it is. It worked, and we're gonna get this going. It's a good thing that we are doing this, because there's a lot of metal shavings from this welding stuff that was done here. I took the little O-ring thing that was here. Now I gotta take this guy off. That did not come off easy, but it came off. That is one messed up penny. Don't lose this. When you put this back together, these dots need to align, so don't forget about that. I'm gonna keep these together, and then you push that shaft out. You gotta turn it right here, and boom, she's out. All right, since all we have to do is take this clutch, or this flywheel side off and replace this case, I don't necessarily have to go in here and remove the rest of the gears and the oil pump and, you know, everything like that. That shift fork is supposed to come out right here, but the shift fork is actually bent. Probably hard to tell, but it's bent right here, facing down a little bit. So when it gets a little further in, it does not want to come out. So I'm gonna try to bend it straight a little bit. Probably not gonna happen. I'm just gonna end up trying to split the cases, and once I get the case split far enough, I can kind of turn the case and then pull it off. So let's get started on that. We're gonna unscrew all the bolts. They're all Allen head bolts, and we're gonna take them all off. We got all the bolts out. Now we're gonna hook up this flywheel puller and this case splitter. I'm gonna pull this case off. And it's opening. Alright, so I had to hammer this up a little bit. Finally got it out. Pile of junk. I'm not gonna like try making this tranny fall all apart. On inspection of all these bearings, everything spins freely, and depending on the customer, what they want, I can either replace them, which it's a good idea to replace bearings while you're in here. Last thing you need is a bearing failure, but that's up to the customer. And while I'm here, I'm going to clean up all these gasket ends and or the between the cases, and I'm going to clean the new case that we have, and we're going to slap this thing back together because there's nothing wrong with this engine. This engine is in great condition. There's a bunch of metal shavings probably from the welding and drilling out and all that. That's how I had one of my engines fail. And so yeah, it's a good thing we're taking this guy apart and we're going to clean everything out. We're going to start off by getting some carbon choke cleaner, Scotch-Brite pad. Better to use contact cleaner, doesn't leave any residue, but this is all they had in the store, so that's what I'm going to use. And just go off by cleaning all that off. Start off with maybe a razor and get as much as thick stuff off, and then go off with a Scotch-Brite pad. I've already done the other case, cleaned it all up, the new case that we have, and now I'm gonna finish this guy off and put you on a time lapse for that. If you guys have stuck with us this far, thank you so much, and thanks for all the support from everybody. Everybody subscribing, liking, and commenting, and staying engaged. If this has helped you so far, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, put on those notifications, share it with your friends, get us going into that YouTube algorithm. But that's all I got for you guys today. This is the teardown. This is as far as I'm going to get. The only other thing that I'm going to do is pop these bearings out if the customer wants to keep them, and switch them over to the new case. It's pretty self-explanatory, and on the next episode we're going to do the reassembly. So thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.